What's up all you lads and ladies? Welcome to another fascinating video in the world of Reddit. If you liked the video, post your favorite Reddit comment below, and I'll give you a shout out in my next video. Thanks to Yeet Mac Meat in my last video who commented that the Jurassic Games is such butt, and this comes from a dinosaur lover. Hope you enjoy this video about getting fired. Today I learned, although less talked about, the trauma of unexpectedly getting fired is very similar to the trauma of being left by a loved one. I had a therapist tell me that I was displaying all the signs of grief over a job which I'd left voluntarily. It made sense. It wasn't a great job, but I was good at it, socially responsible, and I had a ton of good mates there. I was told I was the victim in an abusive relationship with my old boss. Had PTSD and everything. Eye-opener. I can believe that's completely possible. Yes, very hard, especially since people derive a lot of security from their jobs. Without one you risk losing everything. Having a bad work life can really mess with your head, and possibly finances. Having a bad work life can really mess with your head, and possibly finances. It can also badly affect your relationship at home, with your family and or friends. Bad job drains you mentally and you have a short fuse when you're coming home. My boyfriend can be a seriously miserable guy for a few hours after he gets home from work. He injured his foot and had to take a week off, and after the first couple days it felt like every problem in our relationship went away. Turns out when he's not run down and overtired, he's a really fun guy. I work for a small mum and pop sign shop, and they hired a new kid, 21, in art school, with rich parents and a lot of new ideas. Things got slow just after they promoted me to full-time with insurance, so we had a meeting on how to keep everyone and cost down. Left feeling secure in my position, and everyone else's. Next work day I was told I had to be let go and the kid took over my position. They dumped about 2k into training him, and 3 months later he found a design job with a client. Good for him for real, and they asked me back. It's turned back to full with benefits, but they don't understand why I feel insecure around the shop now and don't pour my personal time into finding new improvements like I used to. Damn, you shouldn't have gone back. But understandably most people aren't in a position to walk away from a job like that, which is unfortunate. Places nowadays show very little loyalty, but still expect it from their workers, which is so ass backwards it's not even funny. Good luck and try to find something else if you can. Always try to be like the rich kid who got what he needed out of the job and moved up, because they will always toss you aside when it benefits them. Happened to me at a small business that I called my second family. Owner went out of his way for us, and then one day we had a minor disagreement, and he fired me. It hurt like a breakup, and I learned my lesson to never put that much loyalty in a job. I was downsized with a great benefit package from a job I didn't like and felt like I got punched in the gut. I was fired from another job because the manager was a bully, and I felt like a huge weight was lifted from my shoulders. I liked that job and the rest of my co-workers, but working under that person was causing me so much stress I didn't know what she would attack me on next. She backed management in a corner, so I had to go, but it was unexpected. Maybe it was more like being dumped by an abusive partner. Same thing here with the itty manager. I had a manager who diminished my accomplishments, gaslit me, and was all around a terrible person. I was laid off shortly after the pandemic started. It was initially shocking at first, but it felt like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. My co-workers were otherwise great, but man, having to deal with a itty boss can take such a huge toll on your health. I secured a dream job, my first in a decade, and spent weeks being told my probation was going well and to prepare for how wonderful things would be when I was made permanent and all the exciting things that were going to happen. Then out of the blue they told me they wouldn't be taking me on permanently. Off you go. I definitely suffered some sort of shock or grief unlike anything I'd heard before. I cried. A lot. I got another job. It was very enjoyable. I was just beginning to let the wounds heal. And the company went under. Middle of an afternoon. Pack your stuff. Gone. Admittedly, this didn't hurt as badly, as it wasn't personal. I got another, and again. Took some time, but the panic attacks lessened and I started to feel like I might have a future, and I've been furloughed. I'm not entirely sure I can handle it again. That's unbelievably tough and that really sucks. I know the feeling. Just remember that your job doesn't define you or your character. You're stronger than that and you'll eventually find a workplace that you enjoy doing work you enjoy. Keep putting yourself out there and don't let the world beat you up over things out of your control. I got hired at a design startup as a project manager. I spent tons of time redoing their entire filing system and their client meeting system. They weren't taking notes other than on scrap pieces of paper. Instead they were voice recording 3-hour-long meetings which you had to go back and listen to after and take notes from there. I changed it so we had set forms for taking notes for certain projects with all the applicable important questions, like timeline, budget, technical specifications, etc. and made it so the applicable department heads, design, video, web, etc. were present, instead of just the owner who didn't have the technical expertise to ask the right questions. I got told daily how well I was doing, in writing as well. It was my first 9-5 Mon Friday office job and I got a good gym schedule going. Started working on hobbies, paying back my student loan. All hard to do while working random shifts for low pay. I got to see what the world looked like on Saturdays. One Monday at the end of a 10-hour shift they let me go, saying I wasn't a good fit for the company at this time. I was shocked. I had just been told the prior Thursday how well I did with a client meeting. I was immediately told to pack up my stuff and leave. I had to tell employees who came to my desk with progress on their projects that I had been fired as I was packing up my stuff. Everyone was shocked. When I got home my roommates were all asking if I had done anything to screw up. Not that I was ever made aware of and why the heck I had been fired at the end of a shift on a Monday. And then things started lining up. The owner of the company had asked me to apply through a municipal job program to help offset costs of a startup so we can expand, and I didn't know any better at the time to see that as a red flag. This job program reimburses the companies that hire through them 100% of the employee's wages for the first 3 months, or 480 hours, whichever came first. I had been officially hired in mid-May and was fired at the beginning of August. I went back and looked at my pay stubs and, because I had come in at the beginning of May for a paid training and had worked a bunch of overtime, they would have not been able to pay me for another full shift and get reimbursed for it. Fast forward a couple of months and no one I knew except the owner and his wife were still employed by the company. Everyone was on some sort of government grant or an unpaid intern. To this day I am extremely attached to stability and don't like making any large decisions with money. It has absolutely left to me being too nervous to seek out a new, better job without having a solid safety net of another job lined up. Getting fired suddenly like that with no severance left me using all my savings, and it took me a while to recover from, even with getting another job fairly soon after. I got dumped by my fiance 3 days before Christmas. I'm 62, she's 56. She left me for a lover she'd had 4 years before we even met. Left me twice in 2019 actually. Then 4 weeks after Christmas, my dad died. Then COVID-19 lockdown hit. Let's talk stress. I can't even date now to create new memories. No family other than 2 adult sons living their own lives. Almost no friends. I flew home from Europe back to Canada after burying my dad, weeks after losing the woman I loved and was going to marry. Came home to an empty house in winter, sat down and cried. There was no one to console me, and shallow people who know me criticizing me non-stop, telling me to get over it and move on. Frick you. How can you simply delete love from your heart and memories? All I know is, my heart has weakened. New meds, wondering if I will even be around for Christmas. Stress sucks. Look, I know this sucks, but imagine it didn't happen. I know, your first thought is, that'd be great, but no, it wouldn't. You'd still be engaged to a woman who deep down didn't care for you. You might have married her, The real problem would have just gotten worse and worse, and all this unhappiness would have just occurred a year or a decade from now, and you'd have to pay the same amount, plus heavy interest on the delay. Plus, you would have a lot of idiot friends, and you'd be accumulating more of them. As painful as it is, now you are in a position to move forward, to find a partner who truly returns your love and friends who have some genuine insight into your life. Move on? That's not a possibility. You should be aware that you will have a 2-year healing period before you feel like yourself again. Just accept that right now. But don't wallow. Whatever respite you get from your grief, take it and expand it. Feeling slightly less itty one day? Go to the park or the beach or whatever makes you happier and try to go with it. I know whereof I speak. My love left me, utterly without explanation, a few months before I was summarily fired, and 2 weeks later, COVID shut down my much needed side business. On the other hand, my father is still with us, and although clearly on his last legs, every day is precious. Plus, a business deal that may repair my precarious finances just fell into my lap. So there is some hope on that score. When going through hell, keep going. Winston Churchill. Today is a gift. That's why it is called the present. Bill Keane. I'm glad you said this. I went through a life-altering breakup some time ago. I felt like a 3-legged table that had a leg removed. It wasn't until a friend who had been through a divorce told me that I would not feel myself for 2 years that I finally felt understood, able to process my grief and move on. I guess I just needed permission to grieve, as odd as that sounds. This really spoke to me. Thank you. Make sure to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell like it owes you money. Remember to post your favorite Reddit comment from the video for a chance to be featured in my next video. I hope you enjoyed this fantastic video about life advice. Show a small channel some love by liking and subscribing. Take care. Pip pip cheerio. Much love from me, Matt British.